Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on something really fundamental in leadership, something that often operates, beneath the surface, but it shapes pretty much everything. We're not just talking strategy or vision here. We're talking about hidden stress responses, those gut reactions that can unconsciously steer how leaders act every single day.
Exactly. And our mission today is to really unpack these subconscious patterns: fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. Now, you might know these from personal stress situations, but we're applying them squarely to leadership. We're leaning heavily on the insights of Donna Franklin West, a leadership development strategist. Her work shines a real light on how these instincts shape conflict handling, stress management, influence, the whole package. We're aiming for some genuine aha moments for you listening, helping you spot these behaviors in others, sure, but maybe more importantly, in yourself.
Yeah, those aha moments, that's powerful. What's often the biggest surprise for leaders when they first connect these ideas to their own work? And where did this specific focus on leadership actually come from?
Well, often it's that sudden click of, oh, that's why I react that way. Or, now I understand my team's dynamic better. Franklin West actually points to a specific moment. She was in a PMI webinar by Mark Mullally about difficult conversations. He mentioned these 4 responses, and for her, it was like a light bulb moment. She saw instantly these weren't just, psychology terms. They were fundamental patterns playing out in leadership roles, day in, day out. What looked like just personal quirks were actually these deep-seated programs influencing decisions, team vibes, everything.
Okay, so if they're so primal, almost ancient wiring, why are they still so strong in today's complex leadership world? You'd think we'd have evolved past basic survival stuff in the office.
That's a great question, and it gets to the heart of it. I mean, these instincts are ancient. They're built for survival, right? Fight the threat, run from it. Our brains are fundamentally wired for self-preservation. But the tricky part for leaders isn't the instinct itself. It's how these old programs, often really subtly, hijack our reactions in a modern workplace. It's fascinating to see these survival responses pop up, not when facing a tiger, but maybe during a budget meeting or performance review. They don't disappear just because we're professionals. They just adapt. Sometimes they even disguise themselves as legitimate leadership actions.
Okay, right. Let's unpack the first one then. Fight. Franklin West calls this the over-controller. We've probably all encountered this, or maybe even been there ourselves, the leader who takes charge, but maybe a bit too much. How does that look?
Yeah, fight mode in leadership. It's really about dominance. Think about the leader who needs constant, super detailed updates on everything. Micromanaging, basically. Or someone who dominates every meeting, shoots down feedback, just insists their way is the only way. Control is the driver. And Franklin West is quite candid, admitting she used to see this in herself and actually thought it was strength. Thinking she was just being decisive, getting things done efficiently. Her way was the best way.
But isn't there a fine line there? I mean, in some situations, maybe high pressure ones, isn't that kind of decisiveness sometimes seen as a good thing? How do you tell the difference?
That's the crucial distinction. Absolutely. A healthy, assertive leader fights for things for the team, the vision, the project's success. But a leader stuck in fight mode is often fighting against something, usually a perceived threat, like losing control or failing. And the big downside, operating like an over-controller. It just crushes creativity and initiative. People shut down. Team members feel like they can't contribute. Their ideas don't matter. Innovation, forget it. Franklin West's big shift wasn't just seeing this was bad, but realizing the energy behind that control drive could be redirected. She found that when she consciously shifted from controlling everything to actually championing her team, trusting their skills, she didn't lose control. She gained real influence. It's about understanding why you feel the need to control and then deliberately using that energy to empower instead.
That idea of redirecting the energy, that really lands. Okay, so if fight is about pushing forward, maybe too hard, does flight mean pulling back? Which brings us to the second response. Flight, the avoider.
Exactly. Fight leans in, flight leans out. It wants to escape the conflict or the pressure. This is the leader who consistently dodges those necessary tough conversations. Or maybe they delay giving feedback, or they just bury themselves in busy work. It looks like they're productive, but really they're avoiding the core issues. It can seem like things are okay on the surface, but underneath the real problems are just sitting there, getting worse. Franklin West shared her own struggles here, admitting she used to avoid holding people accountable, maybe giving too many second chances when directness was needed.
So it's more than just avoiding one awkward chat. It could actually shape the whole team culture, couldn't it? Like people learn that tough stuff just gets swept under the rug.
Precisely. And the consequences are real. Problems don't just vanish, they fester. They get bigger, harder to solve, more damaging. And it chips away at trust. Teams see the avoidance, and it can breed resentment or a feeling that real issues are ignored. Franklin West's key learning here is pretty profound. Accountability isn't about being mean. It's just about being honest. Honest with yourself, honest with your team. If you think bigger picture, leaning into those uncomfortable moments, that direct feedback, that difficult conversation, that's where the growth happens. For the person involved, for the leader, for the whole team, it's about facing things head on.
Okay, so we have the over-engager and the avoider. But what about when the pressure hits and you just kind of stall? That sounds like freeze, or the staller. This one feels like it could be really hard to spot.
Oh, it really is. Freeze often just looks like inaction, or maybe like extreme caution. Leaders in freeze might delay making decisions endlessly, or go totally blank if they're put on the spot in a meeting, or just mentally check out when things get tough. Franklin West actually calls herself a former poster child for analysis paralysis. She had to convince herself, I just need more data. Let's do one more analysis. We need more certainty. But really, deep down, she was avoiding the risk of moving forward without a 100% guarantee. Imagine a team just waiting for a decision, while the leader keeps asking for more info, and maybe a key opportunity just drifts away.
Yeah, I think many of us can relate to wanting more information before acting, but what's the actual cost when a leader freezes? It's more than just delay, surely.
Oh, the cost is huge. It goes way beyond just being slow. Freezing doesn't just stop the leader, it stops the whole team in their tracks. Think about the frustration, the missed deadlines, the impact on morale when people are just waiting for clarity, for direction. It's draining. And the insight from the author here is so important, waiting for that mythical, perfect clarity. It often costs way more in lost time, lost opportunities, team energy, than making a solid, considered decision and just being ready to adapt if needed. It really challenges that need for absolute certainty. It makes you ask, where's the line between being careful and just being stuck? How much certainty do you really need?
That's a really good question for all of us to consider. Okay, one more response to explore. Fawn, the people pleaser. This one feels different. It seems like it comes from a good place, right? Wanting harmony, wanting to be helpful. How does that turn into a problem for a leader?
You've nailed the paradox right there. Fawn mode looks like saying yes to absolutely everything. It's over-accommodating requests, putting everyone else's needs or feelings first, sometimes even ahead of your own well-being or the organization's actual goals. Franklin West talks about how she initially believed that keeping the peace, avoiding any kind of conflict, just making sure everyone felt good, that was a priority. But she learned the hard way. It led to her feeling completely drained, totally overloaded. And interestingly, it actually lowered expectations all around because the boundaries were just so blurry. Nobody knew what the real priorities were. Picture a leader saying yes to every side project, every request, even when it pulls the team way off strategy.
That sounds incredibly draining and probably confusing for the team too. What are the sort of hidden costs here?
They're subtle, but really damaging. It feels like kindness on the surface, but fawn mode is a fast track to leader burnout. It creates a team culture with absolutely no healthy boundaries. And it can even lead to bad strategic choices because the leader is more focused on avoiding discomfort than making the right call. But the really fascinating lesson here, the counterintuitive one Franklin West learned, is that saying no isn't actually selfish. It's not being unhelpful or difficult. It's actually necessary. Necessary for the leader's own energy and focus, yes, but also crucial for the team's clarity and the organization's effectiveness. That no isn't really a rejection. It's actually protecting the yes for what truly matters. Setting limits makes leadership stronger, not weaker.
Wow. These 4 responses, fight, flight, freeze, fawn, they really show how much our subconscious can drive leadership. So, bringing it all together, what's the big takeaway message from all this?
The core message is crystal clear. Leadership isn't just the stuff you plan, the strategies you write down. It's deeply, profoundly shaped by these automatic subconscious reactions to stress and pressure. And Franklin West puts it bluntly, if you don't know your default response, it will run the show. Your instincts take over, whether you realize it or not. It's like trying to steer a ship without knowing how it behaves in rough seas. The best leaders aren't just good strategists. They're also really skilled at navigating their own internal reactions.
And how does that self-awareness translate to the team? Because it feels like this impacts the whole environment, not just the leader.
Oh, absolutely. It's huge for the team. Your team members don't just listen to your words. They feel how you react under pressure. They pick up on your default mode, and it kind of sets the tone for how they handle challenges too. It's like an unspoken lesson. If you're always in fight mode, maybe they become more passive. If you freeze, maybe they hesitate more. What's really key based on Franklin West's work, is that the most effective leaders aren't the ones who magically never feel stress. That's not realistic.
Yeah.
No, the effective ones are those who notice their responses as they happen, they own them, and then they actively work on managing them, choosing a more intentional reaction. That's where the real influence comes from, choosing your response instead of letting instincts just take over.
Such a powerful deep dive. It really feels like the core takeaway is understanding your own go-to stress response. Fight, flight, freeze, or fawn is this incredible key. A key to leading more effectively, building healthier teams, and just handling challenges better overall. It's about spotting it, owning it, and then consciously managing it, turning that instinct into intentional leadership.
Precisely. And that leads us to a final thought for you, the listener, to really chew on, straight from Donna Franklin West's insights. When pressure hits, which of these responses do you default to, and how is it shaping your leadership? We really encourage you to sit with that question, reflect on it, maybe start noticing these patterns in yourself and even in others around you. That self-awareness is the starting point for stronger, more authentic leadership.